All right, welcome in, folks. Appreciate you guys joining me here on a Sunday edition of Mount Polumbus Speaks. Broncos training camp is well underway, and the pads come on tomorrow. So I'm excited to get out there tomorrow. I've actually been on vacation for this week, enjoying a few days off before the grind begins. Excuse me. But the grind is here. And I will not miss another day of training camp. I'll be out there every single day moving forward. But I do know what's been going on. I've been following the news. I've been following the headlines. I've been watching all the pressers, and I'm well aware of all the major storylines. So, got a few things to catch you guys up on here tonight. But before we do that, as always, I need to take a second here to thank the title sponsor, Mount Polumbus Speaks, Safeway. So grateful to Safeway to being the title sponsor, Mount Polumbus Speaks. Just been a tremendous partner of mine in charitable aspects and business aspects. Safeway's been my favorite local grocer, serving Colorado families since 1926. Guys, from fresh produce to tender cuts of meat, Safeway offers local fruits and vegetables from Colorado farms, and they serve Colorado Proud Angus beef. So know that when you shop at Safeway, you're going to support Colorado farms and local small businesses, from Oloth corn and Rocky Ford melons to Palisade peaches. So go support your local, easy for me to say, go support your local businesses when you shop at Safeway. Learn more at Safeway.com or shop in your local Safeway store today. Safeway, fresh foods, local flavors. And if you've not downloaded the Safeway app on your phone, make sure you download that thing today. You're going to save a boatload of money in comparison to the other delivery service apps. They make it super easy, and before you blink your eye, that food will be delivered to your door if that's how you choose to order, or you can pick it up in store. Okay, what's going on out there at Dove Valley? Lots of things are going on at Dove Valley, some good stuff, some bad stuff. Like I said, the pads will come on tomorrow, and I'm fired up to get out there for it. Training camp's a little bit different this year because of all the construction that's going on. They're building that magnificent new facility that seriously is so freaking big. I don't even understand what they're going to be putting in that thing. I've been blessed to play on multiple different NFL teams, and when I was in Seattle, that was like the Taj Mahal of practice facilities. It was incredible, but what the Broncos are building right now is going to put Seattle to shame. It is so big, seriously. It's going to be amazing. They're bringing down all the folks that work at the stadium. They're going to work here at Dove Valley, outside of the skeleton crew that needs to run the stadium down there. So that'll be part of it. But, I mean, anything the players could need facility-wise, if you could dream it, the Broncos are building it. And because of that, not as many fans are allowed out at practices this year. They did put up temporary bleachers that are in the end zone. It's in the old coach's parking lot, so not quite as good of access as you usually get. But, you know, if you're lucky enough to get tickets, get out there and watch, especially tomorrow, because that's when the action's really going to start. It's always a fun day when you put those pads on, man. I can remember the anxiety that builds as a player. You get ready all summer long, and then you get out there for training camp, and now with all the new rules, you got to have these acclimation days. It takes time to get to the pads. It takes basically a full week to get to the pads, but they're here. There's usually a fight or two on that first day of training of pads at training camp, and the intensity is going to be super duper high. So as a player, I always look forward to that first day of pads because it's your first opportunity to go out there and hit somebody, and you don't care that it's your own teammate. So looking forward to that, and hopefully I can bump into some of you guys out there at training camp. If you see me, make sure you take a second to say hello. Despite the fact that the Broncos have not had pads on, unfortunately, they did have one significant injury already. It comes to a guy that has been very injury prone. I hate that word because football is a 100% guaranteed injury sport. If you play in the NFL, 100% of the guys are going to get hurt. And a lot of times it's just about bad luck. Unfortunately, though, certain players do get injury prone, and there are certain injuries that lead to more injury. Whether you're overcompensating or whatever happens, it's just too bad. Drew Sanders, who has been a promising young prospect for the Broncos, has not had a chance to showcase himself yet since he's been here. Just continues to go through serious injury after serious injury, and it's too bad because from what I heard, Drew Sanders was looking good out there. They're moving him around, using him in different positions, and he was looking really good on the blitzes, looking really good with his pass rush. Drew Sanders suffered what appears to be a very serious lower leg injury. So it's a bummer for Drew Sanders. Ian Rappaport reported that Drew Sanders is going to miss extended time with a foot connective tissue injury. Not exactly sure what a foot connective tissue injury is, but anytime you see the words extended time, that is not ideal. Rappaport goes on and says, as Sanders undergoes further evaluation to determine exact timeline, the Broncos will figure that out a little bit later as they go through that. But Mike Kliss also did report that despite the fact that Drew Sanders got hurt, inside linebacker is still one of the deepest positions on the team, with Dre Greenlaw, Alex Singleton, Justin Sternad, and Bailey all at the position. So the good news is that the Broncos have depth there. The bad news is that Drew Sanders is probably not going to be a part of the story again this year, because by the time he gets back in action, well, spots are going to be filled, and it's going to be very difficult for him to find his way back out onto the field, because you know that Dre Greenlaw is your starter. He was your big free agent you brought in the offseason from the 49ers. You know Alex Singleton is going to be a starter when he's fully back in action. And even a guy like Justin Sternad, who feels like he's been a member of this team for like 10 years. It has not been that long, but he's been around for a long time, mainly as a special teams guy. Justin got thrust into the lineup last year as a starting linebacker, and I was really impressed by Justin. Look, is he limited in skill set? Sure. But he did a really admirable job filling in as a starting inside linebacker last year. So I'm not overly concerned by the depth there. But, you know, that really only leaves you three solid players, and then you've got Bailey. You'll figure out what he's got. You did want Drew Sanders this year. Drew Sanders was going to be a part of things in some form or another. Don't know exactly what that was going to look like. You know, Drew was in danger of kind of becoming that jack of all trades, master of none. He'd been bouncing around from outside linebacker to inside linebacker over the years. They couldn't quite find a home for him. Generally speaking, when you're bouncing a player around from position to position, that's not usually a good sign for a young player, because it means you're not excelling at any position. But the early reports out of training camp were that Drew Sanders looked great. So bummer for Drew Sanders. Look, this is what happens every single year. You start training camp and you just cross your fingers and you hope and pray that you don't lose a starter, because you're going to lose guys. You're going to lose multiple guys. Drew Sanders is not going to be the last one. There's going to be more guys that go down throughout training camp, and you just got to cross your fingers, hope and pray that it's not a starter and that it's not significant injuries that these guys suffer. But with new rules, look, these guys are not hitting as much as they used to, and I actually think Sean Payton, for a guy who has a reputation as being a hard-nosed, like Bill Parcells background type of dude, he's actually pretty advanced in terms of taking care of his guys, in terms of the training staff, the equipment staff, not the equipment staff, the strength staff. All those guys work together cohesively. They're all one unit that works together, and the Broncos have been relatively healthy over the last year or so since Sean Payton took over. So hopefully the Broncos can stay healthy and they don't lose any more significant starters throughout training camp. Okay, what else is going on? I'm not going to break down the whole contract situations that I've already talked about multiple times. If you missed it and you're curious, you could go check out the former Mount Polumbus Speaks episodes. They all live on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed, hit that link in my bio on X. Go on over to YouTube and hit subscribe. And you can get caught up on my opinion on the guys that want new contracts. The guys that want new contracts are Cortland Sutton, Zach Allen, Nick Benito, and Jonathan Franklin-Meyers. I've broken that down in detail on multiple different episodes, so that's not what I'm going to do today. But if you have listened to those episodes previously, you know that my prediction has been that of those four guys, unfortunately, somebody's not going to get a deal. Right. And of those four guys, my prediction has been that Jonathan Franklin-Meyers is going to be the dude that is going to be bummed out because they're probably going to run out of money and he's probably going to be the lowest man on the priority list. Jonathan Franklin-Meyers has been tremendous. And I mean, there's no dancing around it. I'm not trying to discount what Jonathan Franklin-Meyers has brought to this team because he's been tremendous. And the Broncos are very fortunate to have two players that play that 4-eye position in Zach Allen and Jonathan Franklin-Meyers that can both get after the quarterback. So I value Jonathan Franklin-Meyers a lot, but he probably is the lowest man on the priority list, but he doesn't feel that way. And Jonathan Franklin-Meyers wants a new contract. He's really not shying away from it. Look, he stayed away over the offseason throughout OTAs for the voluntary work. That was his choice. His agent said that it had nothing to do with the contract, but you never really know. And I do think it probably had something to do with the contract. I do think he was probably setting the stage, letting the Broncos know, hey, I'm not happy. I'm going into the final year of my deal, and I don't want to play in the final year of my deal. I want a new contract. Jonathan actually tweeted about it, kind of. Maybe inadvertently, maybe not so inadvertently. JFM retweeted somebody who said that Jonathan Franklin-Meyers has to be the most underappreciated D lineman in the league. JFM has had 5 straight seasons of 50-plus pressures, and this person says I'd put money on him making a 6th straight season with 50-plus pressures. Hey, 50-plus pressures playing the 4-eye position in a 3-4 scheme, that ain't nothing to sneeze at. That is very, very impressive. JFM retweets this dude. It's just some random fan. And here's what JFM had to say. He said, underappreciated and underpaid, but numbers won't lie. I'd bet my money, too, if I were you. He's referring to getting 50-plus pressures again. Almost time to go be great again. So he's put it out there. He said he's underappreciated. He's underpaid. I don't think that this is going to lead to some form of holdout or anything like that. Matter of fact, I don't think any of these guys are going to hold out. I mean, they've all already reported. If they were going to hold out, they would have not reported for training camp. But he's probably going to be an unhappy camper. And in terms of the priority, look, Cortland Sutton's going to go 1. Zach Allen, in my opinion, should be the next up. Nick Benito after that, and then JFM. You can't do them all. You can't get them all done in one offseason. And unfortunately for JFM, he is probably going to have to play this season in a contract year. So, look, that could be a good thing and a bad thing for a player. Player always wants the security of getting the money up front before the season begins so they don't have to worry about injury. But you know, you go out there and you ball, you get to free agency, you get 2 or 3 suitors out there, and sometimes you could walk away with 2 or 3 times as much money as what your original team would have offered you in an early deal. So that's probably what JFM's going to have to bank on this year, and he's just going to have to go out there and prove it. Maybe I'm wrong. Look, maybe I'm wrong. It's just my opinion. That's just my opinion of how I would prioritize those guys. It doesn't mean that that's how the Broncos feel, but I think that's probably how they feel. I think I'm probably right on that. So best of luck to JFM in a contract year, and we'll see what he's able to do with it. All right, what else is going on? NFL is slowly releasing their top 100 list, and there's been a couple Broncos that have made the list so far. But the one that I want to bring up today is Bo Nix. Bo Nix, in his second year, has cracked the top 100. That's an impressive feat for that young man. He's got a lot of people patting him on the back right now. And a lot of people saying really nice things about Bo Nix going into this season. He deserves that. He had a fantastic rookie season. It was better than what I expected. I fully admit that I did not expect Bo Nix to play that well in his rookie year. And he's earned his way onto this list ahead of a handful of other quarterbacks. So at number 64, that's actually reasonably high for a second-year quarterback. Matter of fact, Bo Nix comes in ahead of Jordan Love, who was ranked number 68, Sam Darnold, who is ranked number 72, Dak Prescott, who is ranked number 79, and Tua Tagovailoa, who is ranked number 91. So there's four quarterbacks that are behind behind Bo Nix in the NFL top 100. The NFL very slowly releases this. I think they do 10 players a week or something like that. And they've only gone through the top 60 at this point. So we'll see what other quarterbacks are going to make the cut. I would expect in the AFC West, everybody except for Geno Smith makes the cut. So you're going to have Patrick Mahomes probably as the number one ranked player in the NFL. And we'll see how high Justin Herbert goes. He's always a bit of a conundrum. He's got a big variance of opinion of how talented he is based off of who you talk to. I personally think that Justin is incredibly talented. He's probably not a top 10 QB, but he's probably just on the outside looking in. But the reality is the AFC West is tough, man. And don't sneeze at Geno Smith. I'm a fan of Geno Smith. I think he's a talented quarterback that is going to thrive in a Chip Kelly offense with Pete Carroll as his head coach. Obviously, Pete had him out there in Seattle. And at Pete Carroll's age, he doesn't have time to mess around with a young QB. So he handpicked Geno Smith as his guy to go get him one more championship before Pete Carroll rides off into the sunset. Pete is the oldest coach in the NFL, and how many more years he's got coaching? I don't know, 3, 4. That's probably on the high side. And if you listen to Pete Carroll, he's telling you that Geno Smith is a hell of a quarterback. So, look, Bo Nix has got to every year rise on this list, and it's a great start. It's a better start than what I would have expected. To land at number 64 in his second year, he deserves all the credit in the world, and I actually think that's a pretty appropriate ranking for him. Of the quarterbacks that were ranked behind him, the only dude that I would probably swap would be Jordan Love at number 68. I'm a huge fan of Jordan Love. I think Jordan Love is a really, really talented QB, and he's done a lot of good things out there with the Packers. I'm surprised that Jordan Love only landed at 68, but I do think that Bo Nix is a better quarterback than Sam Darnold. I do think that Bo Nix is a better quarterback than Dak Prescott, and I do think that Bo Nix is a better quarterback than Tua Tagovailoa. So more or less, I think it's a pretty fair ranking for our quarterback here, and it's a good sign for the Denver Broncos' future as they move forward. All right, like I said, tomorrow's the big day. Pads come on. I'll be out there every single day moving forward. Vacation time for Tyler is over, and we start the grind. So I will try to do a Mount Polumbus Speaks episode as often as I possibly can throughout training camp and keep you guys updated on what I saw every single day if possible. I do have kids, I do have a life, so I can't promise an episode every single day. But if you don't want to miss the content and you enjoy what I put out, again, make sure you hit that link in my bio on X. Go on over to YouTube, hit subscribe. That's where my content lives. And you can make sure that you don't miss out on any Mount Polumbus Speaks future episodes, or you can get caught up on all my previous episodes. Thank you to Safeway, the title sponsor of Mount Polumbus Speaks, and thank you to you guys for listening.